from the Aviation and Military Museum at Ronald's Way this afternoon. We've been here since 12 o'clock. Stu Peters was here with Talking Heads. Thanks so much to Beth and Christy for Women Today, although they're going to stick around and join me on the show this afternoon as we explore, quite frankly, what is a hidden gem on the Isle of Man that many of you may not have been to actually explore, and it's well worth exploring. We are live on Facebook this afternoon. There's plenty of videos if you want to have a bit of a virtual tour of the museum, but you can't actually be coming down here and experiencing the museum for yourself. At the moment, we're inside at the brand new World War I exhibit gallery, where there is some fascinating stories, and Christy is still with us, and Christy, Ivor's got some stories to tell us.
Yeah, I'm gate crashing your show, Alex, because there's plenty of things we've not yet looked at, and I must say thanks again to you, Ivor, for opening especially for us today, because you normally just open on the weekend, so we very much appreciate it. But this way, there's a whole section here which starts with a fabulous poster that says "Women of Britain say go," which I absolutely love. But all down this section, I was talking to you before about some of these bits and pieces we didn't have time to talk to you about earlier. Now, there's a huge display board here which is all about the impact that the war had on industry on the island, but also talking about some of the things that were made here that contributed to the war effort.
Yeah, people don't realise that the onset of the First World War really devastated the tourism market. So guest house owners were effectively out of work and virtually destitute. The war created a huge demand for material, uniforms and equipment, and companies were set up to, or organisations were set up to manufacture this kind of thing, and that's what happened on the Isle of Man. One particular aspect was the Vickers company, who made everything from ships to airships to guns. They needed big buildings to make the fabric covers for airships. These things were about 500 feet long. They took vast amounts of fabric, and places like the dance halls that had been made redundant by the onset of the war were absolutely perfect for this. It was a huge flat floors. So the two big dance halls in Douglas, the Palace Ballroom, and I forget the name of the other one, now it was that one, the Derby Castle, they were taken over by Vickers to assist in the manufacture of these things. But on a smaller scale, there was one particular chap, he was a Methodist minister, called the Reverend C. Copeland Smith, and he set up an organisation called the Manx Industries Association, and he was employing boarding house owners, the ladies who were left behind when the men went to war. He was employing them to make clothing. They were set up in little workshops originally, but these things became bigger and bigger as the war went on. And over the course of the years of the war, they made phenomenal amounts of material. Some of the figures, 4 million garments were made for the forces. 2.25 million pairs of socks, would you believe? 90,000 shirts, even overcoats, greatcoats, 9,500 of those. So that gave people a good income, a guaranteed income, really, for the whole period of the war. Even the marmalade or the jam factory at Rushen Abbey, that was kept, it was snowed under with orders for stuff for the forces. Amazing.
I think it says an astonishing 30 tonnes of preserves were produced every month.
Yeah, can you imagine that 100 years ago? I mean, that's what, 10 articulated lorries full of product going out every month. It's amazing. It'd be amazing today. So 100 years ago, it's incredible.
So we really did contribute and play our part in so many different ways, and so there's some fabulous local stories. There's also some little nuggets that I spotted as I was walking around. I'm going to take you back to this display here, which is about the Princess Mary 1914 Christmas gift. Tell us a little bit about how you found out about this and what it actually depicts.
Well, Princess Mary decided that she wanted to do her bit for the troops' morale, and she decided to make a little gift box for every member of the armed forces for Christmas 1914. And it was an amazing procedure. There were thousands upon thousands of these guys, or millions of them. And to get everything prepared and issued by Christmas 1914, well, it didn't actually happen. Some of these were still being issued towards the end of the war. They were trying to catch up with people. But the tins contained all sorts of things. Some of the things that tend to survive more than others are a little Christmas card from Princess Mary and a photograph of herself, not autographed, just a photo. But there was a pipe, or cigarettes, tobacco, all good healthy stuff. a little notebook and all this kind of thing, just to make life a little bit easier for the guys at the front line.
And I should say she was only 17 when war broke out, and that was when she declared that she wanted to use her private allowance to pay for this.
Yeah, that was, I think, a bit of naivety coming into it, the sheer numbers involved. But yeah, money was put together through a public fund to pay for all these things.
And then also you were telling me before as well about the tin itself, when you actually were given this particular tin.
Well, yeah, this has been in our archive room for years and years, and when it was given to us, it was obviously full. It rattled and it was quite heavy, so I thought, good heavens, this is so rare because it's a sealed original tin. But when I came years later to put this exhibition together, inquisitiveness got the better of me, and I opened the tin only to find it didn't contain the original contents, but it contained somebody's medals and little notes and photographs, which are absolutely stunning, far more interesting than the original contents. So of course that led me on to do some research about the person who these belong to, and the medals are on display in the museum as well.
And there are so many things to look at here, not just, you know, sort of these wonderful display cabinets full of things. We've also got the story about the Christmas truce, which hopefully Alex will speak to you about that a little bit later. But when you talk of medals as well, there's one that was dug up, a World War I victory medal. It was dug up in Colby as well. You can come and have a look at that. And the story about the soldier that was linked with it has been discovered as well. So much to see here at the Manx Aviation and Military Museum. Ivor, thank you so much for your time. Alex,